Hey guys, what's going on? This is Cheney 180 and
Chamba.
796 Studios.
And you're watching another episode of Chatmigos.
Assemble!
I think someone's ready for Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
I think
today's the day, baby.
So.
Mm-hmm. Today's the day.
Nice. I love it. Mario, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Chicago's under like a heat advisory, heat wave. It's gonna be brutal tomorrow and Thursday.
Oh yeah.
But it's gonna get real. But I'm so glad I have the AC running. It's so cold.
Oh, it's working now. There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
I'm a happy boy. Oh,
Yes.
good boy.
Good boy. Good boys. Chamba, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Yeah, it's early. I slept late. You know, that's what happens. How are you doing, Jamie?
Were you not a good boy last night?
I was good. I woke up early.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to bed at like 2 a.m.
A little after that, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not bad. As you can see back here, all of my stuff is gone. It's all gone. It's in the other room over here. So hopefully if everything goes as planned, next week I'll be over there. So then you guys will see all the stuff again. But maybe it might be a week after that. So we'll figure it out, but we're slowly working on it.
Are you enjoying like setting everything up again?
Yes and no. I was telling Chamba, like, I've been able to like see some stuff and go, yeah, I don't want that anymore. Just put this in that box, and then I'll take that with me to that show this weekend that I'm going to go to and try and offload a bunch of stuff. So Yeah,
Everything must
it'll be
go.
cool. Everything must go. I don't want to bring anything back. So yeah. All right. We've got a great show set up today, and I wanted to go ahead and introduce our guests. We've got Marco and Jeremy from Meta Travelers here to talk about their Meta Travelers. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having
Welcome,
us.
guys.
Yeah. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Doing good. Doing
Excellent.
good.
Happy to talk action figures with y'all.
For sure.
Heck yeah.
For sure.
Heck yeah. Well, my wife is in the chat. 1 week.
Yeah.
She's been the driving force behind getting all of this stuff moved over to the other room. I'm very slow with the way I do things, and she's just like, "Oh, are you gonna move that today?" Or like she's been very cool about it. She's like, "No, like what was it the other night? We were like, we got the kid to bed, got the dogs fed, got everything settled." And she's like, "All right, we're gonna go move some stuff in there." I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Yeah, we could do that. So shout out to my wife in the chat.
For all the
All right.
coordination.
Yes. All right. So what I wanted to do here was if you guys could just give us a brief introduction, or actually, you know what? Let's check in with the Chatmigos first, because I want to give you guys, a full uninterrupted
full
deal
Chatmigos
here.
experience.
Yeah. So let me do that. But first, we've got Cat McKay Random with a very generous super chat. Thank you so much, sir. It says, Cheney, you're going to be setting everything up the same way or refreshing all the displays? Some is the same. Some are refreshed. You guys will have to wait and see. Maybe I'll do like a new room tour and post it up for the members.
There you go.
Or if that's something they, everyone wants to see, just let me know. So, all right. Let's check in with our Chatmigos, and then we will give you guys the floor here. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've got Marco and Jeremy from Meta Travelers here, and they're about to talk about their line. So give a thumbs up. Let your friends know that they're here, and let's get into it. We've got Just Jet 45 is here. Flavio is in the house. I don't know if I said that correctly, so please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. Mark Rose is here. What is up? Zio Adams in the house. Thunder Crow is in the house. Marcus E with the knives out for the Tuesday crew. Don't forget to hit that unparalleled stream. Toy Box of Doom. What is up, man? Robo Toast is here. Sonic Rockman X. Nightmare Nemo is in the house. Donald Layton. Cat McKay Random. We just read his super chat. Bronx Ninja is in the house. What is up, Henrock? Thank you for joining us. Jurassic Jesser. We got Machu Toy here. Darth Clueless is also in the house. Manic Mike, Dark Bulb, Fortress Madamus. Yoko, what is up, Yoko? Sal Sandoval, 82. What is up, Sal? My wife, Kellyanne, is also here. Times are tough. All of Cheney's toys are gone. Yes. Bat Force Grumps with the knives out for the Tuesday crew. What is up, Grumps? I hope you're having a wonderful day, sir. Let's see. Shadowbird, what is up, Shadowbird? Red Toyologist is also in the house. I don't know if I said Nightmare Nemo yet or not. B. Rivera is here. Eric Alfredable, what is up, man? Stridon is here, and I think D. Blake Makes just showed up. What is up, D? All right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And please allow me to give the floor to these wonderful gentlemen and let us know who you guys are and what you do.
Oh,
Jeremy, take it away.
Marco, do you want? Oh, sure.
No.
I'm Jeremy, also known as Trippy Yogi from Meta Travelers, co-founder alongside Marco. And for over 2.5 years, we've been weaving this intricate backstory that is what Meta Travelers and what now has evolved into our first physical action figure line, Legendary. We've been working hand in hand with storytellers such as the creators of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the figurines themselves are actually engineered and articulated by Four Horsemen Studios. So yeah, we've thrown everything we have at this, and it's been years in the making. So we're excited to be launching this in the next couple weeks. And yeah, we're just happy to be here, happy to talk action figures, and happy to share the magic that we've been building with all of you.
Nice. Awesome.
What's going on, everyone? Marco, also co-founder of Meta Travelers. So yeah, this has been a passion project, kind of years in the making. It's kind of been a wild ride, and going through the process of kind of turning these characters that we've been writing lore and backstory for, and kind of now designing them into physical figures was a real trip. It was a lot of fun, super crazy, tons of things you learn along the way. And, as Jeremy was saying, having a chance to work with the guys over at Four Horsemen who have been, making high quality figures for, a long time. It's really great to be able to kind of have them work with us on this vision and getting these together. And, a little bit about me, I'm like just a lover of all things basically sci-fi and fantasy. And I feel like, having a chance to kind of create our own, story world and then, kind of bring these characters to life through that. You'll see this collection is very much inspired from, those genres. And so, yeah, it's just been fun to kind of, as Jeremy said, just kind of throw everything that we have at this and from our passion. And yeah, and here we are, 15 action figures later. So it's going to be really, really exciting. And I think this is going to be like the beginning of a much bigger kind of story world and universe that I know I want to create. So it's just been a lot of fun.
That's wicked.
Heck yeah. All right, let me go ahead and bring up what it is that we're talking about here so that everybody can see what you guys have been working on.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so where should I start here? Should I start down here with
Yeah, we can start with the concept art there.
Okay.
Just below that. I mean, even just diving into kind of like what makes these characters come alive. Above that. So, yeah, like that ice cool blue dude there, right? Everything starts with kind of the spark of imagination where we dive in and work hand in hand with Ideas and Inks. That's our partnership on the lore and storytelling side to kind of develop the concept of the character. From there, Andy Lanning, story writer, and then Ant Williams, who does the hand-drawn comic style. He's notable for doing work with Marvel, DC, over 20 years, I think, experience, each of them. And so the detailed concept render then starts to evolve into a digital sculpt. Digital sculpt then gets articulated for action figures, and that's when we kind of start to bring everything to life in the physical form. And then if you've seen any of our other work too, we also are working on cinematic stuff and digital tech-enabled features as well. And so, while we're getting things ready to prototype in the physical form, we're also preparing things in the digital form as well to bring to life in a variety of other ways.
Awesome.
Yeah. Here you can see some of the close-ups of this figure. This one's got the cool clear blue plastic, and this guy has, really high-quality premium soft goods on it, custom print patterns. We have them hand-weathered, and it all kind of just comes together to bring these intricate stories to life. Every character has their own unique backstory. They're all coming from either a different part of the world or a whole different world together. And we have obviously this concept of chain worlds that links them all together through the Genesis stone technology. It's this ancient technology that the legendary first learned to harness to basically travel between different dimensions, different chain worlds. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And this guy, for example, is Quickjack, and he's one of the leaders of the Alliance of Free Seekers. They're Marco, did you want to go into detail on the backstory? You want me to keep going?
Sure. No, so I'll just step back. So this is like an alien race called the Nibiru, and so this is where we kind of started our story world. And so these characters kind of all come from this world called Mira Prime that we've been kind of writing. As Jeremy was saying, we've been kind of writing a unique backstory around all of them, and then kind of how some of that ties in between each other. And then obviously we're going to kind of go off, further after that. But without getting too much into each character right off the bat, we're going to be kind of on our site. We're going to be kind of doing kind of like bio reveals. On the Kickstarter, we kind of have like a short and condensed version, just because it's 15 characters plus tons of pictures, and like with the bios being quite long, it would have made the Kickstarter like you've been scrolling for a couple miles. But we're gonna have tons of different ways of kind of doing the storytelling, and then some of our Kickstarter kind of stretch goals includes these tech features that we wanted to be able to do. So part of this project, and what's really interesting about it, is we've created it in the physical, obviously, physical prototypes and the action figures. But like on the side of that, we also were creating 3D digital, like sculpted characters. So we did that for, ways to be able to kind of figure out how could we do it on like a new way of storytelling. And we wanted to kind of look through at different ways of like using like augmented reality, where you could have your phone and like scan the box of the action figure, and it like pops up on your phone right there. And there's a narration happening of the figure. So instead of reading the back of the box, it's like this like new kind of experience and a way to kind of interact with the action figure on the digital side, as well as having the physical. So it's kind of like making two essentially kind of projects. You're making this kind of digital, avatars of these characters, and then the physical, and then being able to kind of find interesting ways to kind of give collectors, not only a way to kind of take in all this, but also just like more fun stuff to play around with, right? So you're gonna have, kind of two different things that you can do. So yeah, so as we're kind of going through some of these figures, as Jeremy was saying, we did a lot of some of them have a combination of soft goods and then or just a kind of PVC soft plastics. We try to kind of make each one as absolutely unique as possible, and so even from like a kind of from like the whole collection, we really wanted to kind of just stretch like colors and designs and really try to make something kind of new and exciting for all of these. But yeah, if you guys have questions, let me know too. I don't know if I'm going to kind of just go off. I could probably talk for 30 minutes straight.
Mario, Chamba, you guys have any questions?
I'm curious, how did you guys hook up with Four Horsemen Studio?
Yeah, so Joe Vettery of Vettery Productions, he kind of helps do Legion Con, and he does Toy Con, and he is very close with all the guys at Four Horsemen. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I linked up actually with Joe about a year and a half ago, and we at that time we had just kind of had our motion, like we had done over an hour's worth of motion comics, and we were kind of playing around also with digital avatars and being able to take the characters like these and like go into like online worlds, virtual reality. And Joe, and I was talking to Joe about action figures, and he's like, this I think would be an amazing action figure line. He's like, I happen to know these guys at Four Horsemen. He's like, I think that you should have a talk with them about they could really take these characters and make that a reality. So I like immediately got on a plane like the next week, flew out to New Jersey, went out to Four Horsemen Studio, got to like go there, which was fantastic, just to kind of meet everyone over there and kind of see just like their entire studio and operation and just how they do stuff, which is just incredible. And that also happened to be like the week after that was Legion's Con. So I just stayed in town for the week, kind of going back and forth from the show back to the studio, kind of seeing, their behind the scenes, getting to see, all the different kind of stages of, from the prints to the paint masters. And so that was just like a lot of fun just to kind of see how, as soon as like I saw, how professional and, what they were able to do and like the level of detail that they were putting on their figures, it actually made me go back around some of these characters. Like, we got to add more detail. There's going to be like more like veins, and there's got to be, all these extra tertiary details. So we go back through these models and we just start like, adding more and more and more. I'm like, no, then we got to have this. And, it's inspiring, it's fun. So, that's kind of how that started. And, like I said, once I left the studio, I remember talking to Jeremy. I was like, Jeremy, we're making action figures, dude. I was like, we're going through this. I was like, and it just kind of just kept snowballing. And originally, the plan here was to make 3 action figures, and that was going to be what this first line was. And then Joe goes, Mark, I feel like you got to have a couple more than that, He's like, if you're going to come out with your first line, I was like, okay, maybe we're going to do like 5. And then all of a sudden, a couple months went by, and I'm like, you know what? I had an idea for another figure though. If we did something like this, I'm like, okay, well let's do 6. 8, and then all of a sudden it just kept spiraling until we're like, at a certain point, I'm like, all right, I'm like, we have to stop. We have to stop. This is getting ridiculous. We have 15 figures, and like we could keep going, but like, I'm like, let's just kind of like let's start walking before or crawl before we're sprinting, down this like journey. But that's just because it was like so much fun, and like as you're going through the process, you're just kind of also looking at the different figures and kind of seeing how you could kind of mix and match and do stuff. And another thing that's really interesting that I hadn't brought up so far is, so the way a lot of these figures were designed, like for example, like the different shin guards and the different kind of arm guards, like everything is like removable. So like you'll be able to swap out a lot of different parts. And one of the things we wanted to make sure that we could, have for these figures is kind of interchangeability between the figures and for customizers, because I thought that would be something I know that I want. So just being able to kind of figure out, okay, if we have, these different types of boots and, the shin guards pop off, I can like, now kind of swap them with anything else in the line. So one of the things that's kind of interesting about that is you're not really designing one action figure. You're trying to think about like, what's the next 10? And like, how is that shoulder, pad or that guard? Like, how is that going to work on that other character? And like, maybe we should tailor that just a bit so it can slide onto this character and then this character. And so you're kind of like, even actually this last week, one of the characters, I was like, hey, can we put that shoulder guard on this other one? And they're like, well, we'd have to make a slight adjustment, but we can make it happen. I was like, okay, let's do that, So it's like you're kind of trying to see how you can make all these characters, stand on their own and be awesome, but then also be able to kind of, potentially mix and match with other, figures in the line. So it's a process, but yeah, it's fun.
Heck
And
yeah.
a crazy amount of work.
Heck yeah.
It's been a journey.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And it's fun too, because as we're designing the characters for the action figures, we're also hand in hand building out the story, right?
Mhm.
So it's exciting to see all these kind of like potential ways we can go with each character, and then how that influences that character, and then maybe they have friends or allies in their realm, and so now you have a few other different characters, but each one of them has to specialize in different things. Well, now each one of them gets a different set of accessories or soft goods or colorways, all kinds of different fun ways it could go.
Man, you guys are living the dream. You're literally playing with toys.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, I was just saying you're playing with toys, for a living, and this is great, So it looks good. And I was gonna say, I think these would, and I've seen a couple comments already on some of these posts that they'll look really good next to like the Cosmic Legion stuff.
Yeah.
For Horsemen. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on a similar 7-inch scale as well, and I know that I think that some of them I think will look good next to Cosmic, and some of them I think might even look good next to some Mythic stuff. Even though I know we're not necessarily that type of fantasy, but there's different blends where I could see that would work.
We have a lot of different fusion and inspirations. Like a lot of it is sci-fi, but some of it is sci-fi fantasy.
Right.
Some of it is the more like technical. This one obviously is more kind of like I don't know, armor and futuristic armor, but like plated gold, so it still does have a little bit of that rustic look.
Yeah, he can jump in between both worlds, I feel like.
Oh, easily.
This for sure.
Oh, and then if you saw his accessory, you've got this huge battle hammer and huge shield, ornate, everything. Yeah.
Not pictured here yet. We haven't revealed those, but Jeremy, all right.
Oh yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. You heard it here first. Awesome.
I do have another question. If I don't want to take all the questions, but can you guys speak to like the articulation on these figures?
Yeah.
Totally. Jeremy, you want to go for it?
Yeah, up to 29 points of articulation. I think the Eternal Guard, which is the one we were just looking at with the wings, has the most articulation. I think the baseline characters will have, I believe it's 16 or 17. Right, so you have like a double ball joint for the neck and the head swivel, shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees, ankles. It has the thigh swivel for people who like that. Right, you have the torso, and then you have the the thigh ball joints as well. So
Nice.
Yeah, they come pretty much articulated, similar to what you might see in Cosmic or Mythic.
Okay.
Yeah. We have had a question, does it have any of the double joints? And we're not doing the double joints. One of the considerations behind that was more so on the interchangeability side, because we are designing this with customizers in mind. So we want to make it so they can make it compatible with whatever they want to dream up, if they want to slap on a new arm, it's going to be a lot easier this way,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I had a question in regards to that. It's he was saying you can swap out accessories and whatnot, but is it possible to even just like remove the arm and swap it out? And is that part of the story? Is that like, did you incorporate that in the figures because it's something that within story wise, it's actually something that they can do, or is it just something mainly for customization for figures' sake?
I think mainly, I mean, there's a ability to kind of add things to storylines, but that wasn't the driving factor on this.
Oh,
This was
okay.
more just for the kind of the customizer side of it.
Wicked.
Yeah, I think there might also be an articulation breakdown sheet on one of the
There is.
posts.
I was looking at that
Oh,
right now,
okay.
actually. Yeah. Because
Okay,
that's
cool.
what I was looking at. That's what I was wondering about. Because like you mentioned that you can swap out the accessories from character to character, but I was just wondering if you can actually even go as far as to like say take
No,
off
yeah,
the elbow
the
and
heads. No, the heads will be able to pop off. The arms, the
okay.
elbows. Like we even made it
Wicked.
so from like an elbow side here, like
Right.
they'll be pretty much interchangeable. Like
Which
there
is
is
why it's the ball
the
joint, correct?
It's ball
yeah,
joint, not
yeah,
a pin, right? And
Yeah,
so that way, easier for the
that's right. That's
customizers.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. And so there's gonna be kind of a couple different body types, like two I guess you could say like main kind of or actually sorry, three like main kind of molds or body types, and some are more compatible with each other, some and then there's other ones that may not be fully compatible, but they it depends on like which other characters they can also kind of go with. But we try to make it to the best of our ability without kind of sacrificing having things look to the same. If you're the problem is when you're kind of for the Eternal Guard, for example, the way that arm guards and the armor was designed wasn't necessarily the same that could be for some of all like universally, but there's other characters that they could probably swap, if that makes
Wicked.
sense. Sorry, I don't know if that helped or
Yeah.
It does.
confused you guys.
It does. It does. Totally.
Yeah. So what is what's kind of the backstory to these guys? What's where do we start off with these guys? What's their world about here?
Yeah, so their world is called Mirror Prime, and they are in like an adjacent kind of dimension to Earth. We actually and these characters, these alien races called the Nibiru. So they're like interdimensional travelers, and we actually created a series of motion comics that we have on our YouTube channel that
Okay.
kind of start to outlay the background of these characters. One of the things that kind of make these characters, I guess, like a defining feature of the race is called like conjoining, which allows them to, kind of conjoin or blend with either an environment or even like another being, and like that's like kind of how they can like adapt. But the motion comics, this is what we've been working on with Andy and Ant, and so Andy was one of the writers of all the comics of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was Jeremy was talking about earlier. So we actually met up with him about 3 years back when we were first designing the characters and kind of this idea of this story world. And so I remember having a chance to cross paths with him and kind of just explain to him about this, this story world and this kind of, universe building. And at that time, actually, there was three different kind of sets of, races, or I was calling them guilds at the time, that I wanted to develop. And the Nibiru was one of these three that kind of I wanted to use as the kind of the start of our universe. And so we started kind of making these motion comics to kind of do that before we kind of start to kind of reveal new species and characters in the story world. So if you head over to our YouTube, there's I think over 30 episodes, maybe a total of 1 hour, or maybe a little bit more of motion comics that we've done. So that kind of just gives you a little bit of the baseline. And then, after this project and after these figures, we want to continue doing more story, being able to kind of do a lot of different animation work. So exactly what you're showing here. We've also developed an entire world in Unreal Engine that Jeremy's been building with our other buddy of like where these characters come from. So we can start to do like cinematic shorts that might be, 30 seconds, a minute, and maybe start to do storytelling that way. So over time we can, do not only an overarching story, but also start to introduce these characters and be able to kind of show their own kind of solo stories through animation. So I think the future of this from a storytelling perspective will be like a little bit of comics, some motion comics, and then some like digital 3D animation, and just kind of have like a blend of a couple different mediums that we can kind of get people to, understand and kind of introduce, our story world. So there'll be a kind of a couple different ways to kind of.
For the action figures, this really opens up, just new ways of storytelling, new ways to develop those characters, right? Say people fall in love with a certain character, right? They're gonna love seeing that in their environment, or fighting in the arena as you see here, right? Or maybe the Eternal Guard just like opening its wings as it travels through a portal, and really for us, the storytelling is what kind of makes that connection so deep with your action figures, right? I grew up collecting, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman and all of those things, and it's like you're there, you're that character, or you are watching that story unfold right before your eyes, and so that's why this is so exciting for us. We get to tell those stories in our own way, with this new line of characters.
Heck yeah. I like this animation. This is really cool looking. I dig it. It's got that I know it's not the same, but it does give me like a kind of like old Beast Wars vibe almost, if you will. Like kind of like in that area, like not necessarily, it's not like Beast Wars, but like during that time, because that time you had Beast Wars, you had Reboot, you had all those, older kind of CGI cartoons, but it gives me a little bit of those vibes with some of the design.
Definitely lends itself to it.
Yeah. So there's a whole. This is neat because you've got not only you've got these neat animations that you guys are making. You've got the comic books that you can catch up on and learn more about these characters, and now you guys are going to be launching this figure line. So when does this thing kick off?
Yeah. So we don't have a finalized date yet, but it will be in the next 2 weeks, if not sooner.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just around the corner.
Wow.
Shooting for end of the month.
Yeah, shooting for end of the month.
shooting for end of the month, and we're going to be putting. I mean, obviously, on all of our socials, we'll kind of be giving everyone the green light as that's going through. I think right now the target, like I said, is end of month. I don't know if that's going to be like 29th, 30th, or So before I make any statements, I'll just make sure that I have all my kind of stuff ready to go. But we're right there, so I think it's just kind of this buttoning everything up on the. For all the backers and the different tiers, and just making sure that they're organized in a way that makes sense for everyone. But from a side of the figures, the prototypes, everything's kind of already in place. So it's just kind of getting these last things lined up. But hoping 29th is my internal date.
That's the target.
Okay. Do we know what the price point is going to be on these?
Yeah. So. We are still getting everything dialed in, but I think for the Kickstarter, they're going to, and there might be 2 different tiers that we're still kind of going through all the kind of logistics on it, but I think we'd be starting around $38, and then retail, they'd be probably in the 55 to 60 range retail, but for the Kickstarter, it'll be at 38.
Okay, so if you want to get in,
as I get into it more too, there's going to be maybe a potential tier on some of our larger characters. For example, like the Eternal Guard, one comes with multiple accessories, a wing set. It's like once it's actually sprawled out, that's like 11 inches. So we might have that one at a slightly higher price point.
Understandable.
Don't hold me to it exactly. I just wanted to kind of give you a rough, understanding and before we go live.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I was just trying to get a ballpark of
Yeah, just
you
for
know.
people to gauge what they kind of get
Totally,
themselves
yeah.
into.
We're shooting for $38,
Mhm.
for the Kickstarter.
Okay,
That's cool.
awesome, awesome. If you guys are cool with it, I'd like to um open it up to the Chatmigos if they have any questions for you
Mhm.
Would
guys,
love,
and
yeah, would love
we'll
that.
yeah we'll let them shoot some questions your guys' way. So,
Well,
Chatmigos, do you have any questions for these guys? And
yeah. Well, those questions roll through too. I just wanted to give a shout out. I saw in the Chatmigos chat, 1/6 shooter. Thanks
yep,
so much
Trevor.
for showcasing these in such awesome light. You know, he did all the action figure photography for these.
Oh, wicked.
And we're
Nice.
really excited once we get the fully posable final ones
Mhm.
too to have him do some really cool stuff. So
Oh, no doubt he'll knock it out
yeah,
the park.
great work. If anyone hasn't checked it out, check out 1/6
Uh,
Shooter's page.
Oh
Awesome
yeah.
photography.
And also check out the Behind the Lens episode with 80s
Mm.
Baby
Ah,
that dropped
okay.
yesterday. That 1/6 Shooter was the guest on. So
very
that was
cool.
a great episode, by the
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I learned a lot. I feel like I
Great
always
show.
learn a lot
That
when I
one's a
talk to
great show,
Trevor.
though.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good one. So definitely go and check that out. All right. So we've got Sonic Rockman X says, question, what's the exact scale?
Oh,
1/10, I
110?
believe.
okay.
Yeah, 1/10
Okay.
scale.
Yep.
So yep.
Mechanized asks, why 7-inch and not 6?
So for us, we just thought because of the level of detail that we're trying to
Mm,
cram into these figures,
yeah.
obviously we want to make them as big as possible, but they
Mm.
also have to fit on, a collector's case or detop shelf, right? It has to
Mhm.
be collector and customizer friendly. So
Mm.
7-inch for us was kind of that sweet spot between like max detail but still functional.
Yeah. Right.
Understandable. Understandable.
There's a lot of lines out there that are like 110 as well, so it kind of makes
Mhm.
sense too. Yeah, you're not
Mhm.
going
And
too
it'll look
crazy.
good alongside those characters. Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And even amongst
Yep.
like 6-inch figures, they could just be larger characters, really, and
Yeah.
that works just as well too. Wicked.
Sonic Rockman, I think these will probably work with Mythic Legions,
Yeah.
NECA stuff like that, like we had mentioned.
Mhm.
Rick Jones, when do you expect them to ship?
Mm.
Kind of ballpark,
Yeah, so we
Uh,
are doing the Kickstarter as a fundraiser, so we expect that to run about 45 days. And from there, typically it's like a 9 to 12 month window for finishing production. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna say give it a year, but if
Mm.
we can deliver earlier, we would gladly, like to
For
surprise
sure.
people. Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
usually realistically for like Kickstarters out the gate like that, I mean, if you throw in issues with, because there's always gonna be some kind of hiccup, right?
Mhm.
I would say realistically, probably a year and a half
Yeah, year and a
from the
half
end
seems
of your
average.
yeah,
Mm.
the
you know,
end of your Kickstarter campaign.
One of the things that we have kind of going for us is that we've already got through the prototype phase with a lot of these. I
Mm.
know sometimes through Kickstarters, obviously there's some beautiful concept art, but then that still needs to go through the entire process just to get
Mm-mm.
to, a painted prototype. And so the fact that we've been spending the last year doing that, that kind of gave us, extra time. So by the time we get to the Kickstarter, we're not as far out as,
Right.
maybe other kind of projects that anyone's back before, have had to kind of go through. And that was one of the things that was important for us. Is like we want to be able to get these, out in the world and get these into collectors' hands, as soon as possible. And so, um, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get that, like you said, sooner.
Okay. Brick something says, where will they ship from? San Diego. Thinking about shipping costs. How will you handle shipping during the Kickstarter prices, included or factored in later?
Yeah, so we haven't finalized on the freight forwarder and shipping. We are in talks of shipping out of California. It just seems favorable based on one of the manufacturers we're talking with,
Mm.
Okay.
but still TBD. And then as far as pricing for that, and we're going to be using backer kit and backer surveys, so that way everyone has kind of like the accurate shipping cost,
Mm. Mhm.
and that's going to be done through the surveys post Kickstarter.
All right. Sonic Rockman says, any effects will be included, accessories, hands, heads, etc.
Yeah, so all of the characters come with their own set of accessories. It's going to vary across character to character. Some will come with a mask, so you can change their head. We also will have some weapons packs, accessory packs, head packs as well. So a lot of variety. We've already shown a couple of the weapons packs, so if you check it out on IG, you can see a couple of examples there.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a variety of stuff, and obviously, like the character, or a lot of the characters come with kind of like the forearm and shin slots too. So we want to be able to come out with more of that as well, just so you can almost make it look like a completely different character, with your same base character. Yeah,
that's cool. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing some of the images where it's like they'll have the
Oh, yeah,
standard
detailed
open hand,
breakdown.
the
Yeah.
fists, and then the weapon holding hand. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and
That's
you
cool
can
that
see on
that's
the
the
top left of these pictures too, it kind of has like it's like interchangeable accessories. Like for that one, for
Right.
example, like there's tons of stuff that you can pop off, pop on, different goggles, chest plates.
Oh yeah.
So
they're
there's going to
loaded.
be a bunch of stuff for that. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
Yeah.
the price makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Then you got masks and heads and soft goods and
oh yeah.
Mhm.
wow, that guy's got a big Gatling gun. Yeah.
Dude, those
All
hands
kinds
are
of
going to be
stuff.
clutch. Those hands,
Yeah.
different hand options really makes the figure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hands
there's
and facial
going to be
expressions.
four different. We have four different hand variations that are going to come
See, that's
across the entire collection. So yeah,
That's
there'll
really
definitely
good.
be tons of opposing hand, fist, open hand, and then kind of like I don't know what you want to call this, like
Expression,
kind of
like an
action.
expression.
Anger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the expression hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's necessary. I feel like a lot of lines
I
tend to overlook that, so it's nice that you guys are actually considering that.
And it's funny, we've asked different collectors or people in the industry, like, well, what type of hand do you prefer? And some will prefer grip, some will prefer like the angry hand, but no one says like, I want them all, or I don't
Yeah.
want like a single
Oh,
one. Like, so you gotta
we
have
always
enough.
say we
Yeah.
want at least a handful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
was
good.
talking to collectors. Like, I just have like a giant Ziploc of hands that it just sits on the shelf. It's like, from all these different figures that they collect and like, so, but yeah.
That's great.
Brick Something says, are there other toy lines, comics, movies, etc., that inspired the designs and or lore? I think they had mentioned, some of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
Landing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so Andy's worked obviously with Marvel, but I'll speak for myself. I've kind of grown up, loving everything from like Lord of the Rings, the Star Wars, MCU. So like I'm kind of like when I was working on kind of character creation, I'm pulling from like all sorts of things. It's not necessarily one specific thing that I could say like, oh man, that like there was even different games that I was like, I've always like this one red character from the Spite. Like I was like, I don't know why I just got this like Mortal Kombat kind of vibe, and so I was like, oh, that'd be cool if he had this kind of like this type of headpiece or this type of mask. So it's like it's kind of I'm also a big gamer, so like a combination of video
Oh
games,
yeah. Sure.
and movies, and so a little bit of kind of like everything, and
Inspiration from
at
everything,
each
really. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that character for some reason I was kind of like inspired by like Mandalorians, and so I kind of wanted to have this like futuristic kind of helmet, but I wanted to put our own touch on it and kind of
For
have
sure.
kind of like a sci-fi kind of like cyber wolf like helmet. So yeah, like each character kind of as I could kind of go through, but you kind of get it. Like they're all kind of just kind of pulled from different parts of my brain.
That's awesome. That's awesome. As far as like action figures go, is there actually any action figures that you were leaning in towards when you were designing these, or like we want it similar to this, or is it something more in line of something because you're working with Four Horsemen? Is it more in line with something that they would do?
So
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
yeah, we didn't. I don't think we had as much of a specific vision related to action figures. We wanted to, design as cool of characters as we could, without any limitations,
Just
and
the
then
best,
lean on
the
Four
best
Horsemen.
representations of your designs, right? And then it's like
Yeah, and
yeah, okay, cool.
see if Four Horsemen can then engineer it to a way that actually makes it work.
Wicked.
That was kind of our approach, and like Marco said, a lot of our inspiration came from, cinema or like '90s video games or movies, TV shows,
Wicked.
sci-fi, all that stuff. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. And of course, when
Sorry.
we're bouncing around ideas with Four Horsemen Studios too,
Yeah.
obviously they have decades of experience, and so they can recommend, oh well, maybe this type of design, or this type of holster will work well, or these type of joints. We can really lean on them to guide us in a way that like gets the most out of our design.
Cool.
Yeah, and CB's been awesome with all that kind of stuff, giving recommendations and like, hey, if I know you want that to work, like I would suggest moving that down a little bit and just things that, again, like not necessarily, he's like, obviously you guys are thinking like character designers. He's like, and I'm going to help you guys think like, action figure
Like
designers,
action,
which
yeah,
are,
wicked.
Yeah.
two different things, right? And how can we make sure that, if that backpack, if we tailor that in a little bit, it's going to get the rotation that you want and all these different things that like I wouldn't have, maybe thought of on my first run.
That's awesome. It's awesome that you got like somebody that can translate your designs into the figures so that it's compatible and not just it doesn't
Totally.
just look cool, but it actually functions as a figure in itself. There's a question from Sonic Rockman X. It says, could the figures be stripped down to the nothing and interchangeable with other figures in the line? I think you answered a bit of this before in regards to the whole modular aspect of it, but
Totally, yeah. I mean, the short answer is yes. Like if you pull up all these different accessories, like you'd be able, and it also depends if we're just talking about, some of the characters, because they have like a gauntlet, for example, they'll actually like a plug where you could swap that out. But I think what we were talking about earlier too, like you could pull off the arms off of one character and then put it on the body of a different, different figure, and like they were made to work like that.
I'd be
So-
keen
And
to
for
see
this,
a lot of
like
those
for example,
combinations.
this guy, not only could you pop off the hood and the cape, you can also pop off the mask. And
cool.
you could pop that head off even and swap it with another character's head. Put the hood back
Nice.
on, right?
Nice.
Yeah, and even actually something specific with this character. So like as that when it zooms back in, you'll kind of see like his left arm, like the arm has kind of like spikes. Where right at the elbow, I was like, hey, if a customer wanted to pop off that elbow, or I should say the forearm down and switch it, and they're like, oh, well, we could do that. Then we're gonna have to tailor these bones and this, and so like we, made all these like
That's
different things, for that. So
Yeah.
it'll be really interesting to see like, what people do with them. And I'm
that's
sure,
the thing. I'm curious to see the combinations at this point.
Yeah.
The fact that they're modular.
Jeremy from Four Horsemen is like, Marco, whatever you think customers are going to do, they're going to do something completely different. He's like, so you can keep trying to do this. And he's like, but I promise you, like, customizers are going to do what they do. He's like, and they're going to find all these new combinations that you're going to be like, why didn't we think of that?
So 100%.
100%.
So, we try to go as far as we could just by kind of like giving, all you guys
a good
tools
base
to do a bunch of, a good base. And then I'm sure other people are going to like, kind of just go crazy with it, which is that to me is going to be a fun thing just to kind of see what, what you guys all build.
Yeah, Rick Jones and Sonic Rockman want to know if the soft goods are going to be wired.
Some of them are. So some of the capes. So I don't know. We don't have anyone on the screen right now. So some of them are wired. Some of them are not.
In the middle.
It just depends on the figure. We also have a couple figures we haven't revealed yet, which is like a really intricate cape with a lot of different wire. This one is a wired cape. Some of the pieces kind of, if they felt like they would require it for posing, we did. If it was a little bit more form fitting, where that didn't really seem like it would, I guess give too much. Like for example, there's like a tunic that it just kind of goes across. So like we didn't think that we'd need that as much. So we kind of added it where we saw fit, I guess.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Mario, Chamba, did you have anything else you wanted to ask them?
Yeah. Could we potentially see you guys at SDCC next year?
I'd love that. It's something
Cool,
that
see you there.
it's something that I'd love to do. Obviously booth space is precious out there.
Oh yeah.
But I'll put it this way. I would 100% like to do it. It's something that I've already kind of been looking into, but again, it's like we're like, even though I feel like we've gotten so far in this journey, we're still like kind of like the end is the beginning. Like we're right back here. So it's like kind of seeing. I know that we would like to be, at Legions Con this year. There's a bunch of different events that we'd like to be at next year, but it's also kind of like getting, this launch over the next few weeks is going to really kind of, I think everything that we've been kind of working towards has been kind of getting to this point. But I definitely want to be at as many events, not just throughout North America, but hopefully maybe even other places as well.
For sure.
But it's kind of like taking the small steps before
No
we're
doubt.
jumping into the biggest ones like Comic-Con and all that stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's a dream of
Legion's
mine.
Con-
So
Yeah, Legion's Con would make
Con.
sense, and
Mhm.
Sonic Rockman X says Designer Con too.
Yep.
Designer Con would make sense
Yep.
too, actually.
Yep.
I think it would line with like
Okay.
San Diego because you've got the digital comics already. You've got there's a whole backstory to this. So it's not just advertising the figures themselves, but you've got a whole lot of story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
Is it Enzyme Graphics? He asks, any female characters?
Very important question.
Yes.
So we have female characters that we have wrote in our story and in our designs, but in this first initial wave, we didn't do a female figure, but we have essentially the designs for her. It just came to the amount of different molds and body types. Adding an additional one at this stage would have made our Kickstarter even larger and more. Obviously each time you're creating a mold for figures, prices exponentially
For
just
sure.
keep growing, and so
Sure.
it's something that we want to bring
Yeah.
those characters to life, but we have to kind of go in the
Next wave. I
Step
guess.
by
the
step.
next
Yeah.
wave
Yeah.
two
There you
for
go.
sure.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry if the puppy keeps yelling. He wants to chime in, but all right. Let's see. I think I'm good. You guys are good? Chamba, Mario? Okay. All right. Did you guys want to take a look at a couple of the new announcements that before we wrap this up here?
Yeah, there's one. and
I
think
know.
Okay.
I know. Just hang in there. I'll bring it up.
I'm holding.
Really? You're gonna hold the line?
I'm holding onto my chair. Look at me.
Oh, okay.
About to break this off.
Yeah. All right. Let's bring it up here. Okay, I'm hurrying up. Sheesh. Everybody's yelling at me. Wrong one. This one. Here we
There we go. Amazing Yamaguchi.
Wow.
go. All right. Are you guys familiar with the Amazing Yamaguchi line?
Not, but I want to be after seeing this.
That's the best possible answer you could have
that
replied
is-
with.
it
Yeah.
is.
So this is a super articulated line. These things, some people don't like how movable they are. But
it's almost too much to an extent sometimes.
yeah. So Mario, where are you at on this?
This is kind of out of left field. I wasn't expecting this. I was probably expecting like a Venom 2.0 before seeing Agent Venom. I don't really have too much attachment to Agent Venom, but I do love Amazing Yamaguchi. So I don't know. I don't know if I need this. I'm at a point where I need to kind of pick and choose
Tone down a little bit.
but
Yeah.
Yamaguchi is my,
Need your jam.
it's my jam. I've gotten every single one so far. I don't know, but he looks amazing, and I'm just kind of curious what accessories he comes with. But
for sure.
Heck yeah. What about you, Chamba?
This is unexpected, like what Mario said. This might be the best version of the actual, the best figure of this character that we're probably going to get. And so I'm probably going to get this. I'd like to see what he comes with. Like again, if Mafex makes it, it won't touch this.
oh no,
think.
No. This is the perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect
I think
company
it's the
to do
perfect-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, just based on these two photos, I'm curious to see, what it's going to come with. I'm curious what that Kyoto store exclusive bonus or whatever garbage that's going to be. But yeah, I'm going to look into this when it actually, goes up for pre-order because he's going to look great amongst all the Spider-Man related figures.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
he fits in for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, those knees, perfect. That's how you do it. It's the point where I'm like, cool. This is actually, that scoop makes sense here because it's a knee pad. It makes sense here.
Yeah, this came out of left field, man. Like I was just like, whoa, okay. It's tempting. I'm trying to hold the line and go, you know what? It's not X-Men, it's not Street Fighter, so but it looks really good.
Mhm.
It looks really good. It looks like a lot of fun.
It does.
Are you guys familiar with Agent Venom?
No, just Venom. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is when he was they gave Flash Thompson the Venom symbiote, and he was like an agent for the government, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so he was a very more tactical Venom, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, this guy looks loaded. I was just
Yeah.
looking at some of his equipables, and he's got like the posable back thing, and then I'm sure those little harnesses on the legs and the waist are all detached.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
speaking of modular aspects, the
Yeah.
Yamaguchi line, because they use these ball joints, a lot of it is modular too. Where at least from the shoulder, the elbow, knees, hips, they've changed it lately, but yeah, a lot of it is interchangeable with other Yamaguchi things, other Yamaguchi releases.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
fun. It's a
rad.
fun line to have, and this one looks fantastic.
Heck yeah, it does. All right. Well, we are about out of time here. So I wanted to thank you guys so much for joining us today. And hit us up when you get the date for the launch, and we'll go ahead and help you
promote it. Yeah,
get the word out there for sure.
Awesome. Oh, and then
Thank you guys
for
so
anyone
much.
who's interested in following along, am I okay to just drop the link in the chat if anyone
Absolutely,
wants to
yeah.
check out the pre-launch? Yeah.
can do that.
Love everyone's support. Thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
Heck yeah. And so to keep up with all this, where do we go?
Yeah,
you can head over to our Instagram. Oh, go ahead,
I
Jeremy.
just popped a link up
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, like Marco was saying, someone dropped the or Chamba dropped the link. Meta Travelers. We're pretty much all socials. That's us. So Instagram, Twitter, our website. Has a lot of the. If you're interested in kind of like the full Meta Travelers backstory and kind of like what the overarching universe is all about, metatravelers.io. But yeah, the latest and greatest will be coming out over Instagram as we ramp up for the Kickstarter launch.
Wicked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
This is great.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing what people end up doing with a lot of the modular aspects of this, because there's a lot of really cool aspects of it. So I'm curious to see what people make combinations with. So it should be good.
We got someone joined us.
Yeah. He's
A
done.
little one.
He's done being caged in the back. He wants to.
Yeah.
He wants
He wants
to
to say hello.
go romp around now.
Free.
Yeah.
He's here to
He
talk
wants to be
business.
free. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much again. And you can follow all of this on their website, Twitter. You said
Instagram.
Facebook as well, Instagram.
Yeah, we just started up the Facebook, but not big on Facebook yet.
Okay.
So yeah, most of it I would say Instagram, Twitter, website, and then if you want to watch the motion comics, YouTube.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, that about wraps it up for us today. So thank you everybody so much. A huge shout out to our Chatmigos. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we got a first timer in here.
Oh, nice.
Enzine. Nice.
Enzine
Yes.
Graphics, is it?
Dude.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. So where do we keep up with you, Mario?
You can follow me on 796 Studios on Instagram, TikTok, Vero, not Twitch. You can catch me on the first Tuesday of every week on Chatmigos Assemble. You can catch me on the first Thursday of every month on Toying Around's channel, Unboxing Thursday, Enablers Edition. Go check out Ahsoka today. And then after that, go hop on Kev's channel, Boba Squadron. They're going to be streaming, talking about it tonight. Peace.
All right. Awesome. Chamba?
You can find me at the Chamba on Instagram and Twitter, on the Toymigos Discord, and on They're Not Dolls on Thursday.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. You can find me, Cheney180, on Instagram. I did post up something that wasn't just a thumbnail. It was, the shots from the Chun-Li review for Jaded Toys. So go check that out. We do have, I think, a reel over on our IG, and then we have the full review here on the Toymigos YouTube channel as well. So check that out. Also, go check out the Jaded Toys Street Fighter Facebook group on Facebook. Check out the Toymigos Facebook group, the Toymigos Discord. Catch me here every Tuesday and Thursday. They're not dolls. And then don't forget to check out that episode of Behind the Lens with the 80s Baby and 1/6 Shooter. And tomorrow night, check out the Fallen Fed on the Fallen Fed Chronicles.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, thank you everybody so much. As always, I am Cheney180.
I'm Chamba.
I'm 796.
That's weird because there's not another one. Yeah.
I'm Jeremy.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. And Chatmigos?
Assemble!